Welcome to another episode of Moral Injury International. I'm Marty O'Connor here in Melbourne.
And I'm Leo Quinlan here in Ireland.
And Lee, our special guest, who have you got?
I've got Rosita Sweetman, whom I understand that you recently interviewed on Life Stories with Marty.
Correct.
And here, Rosita lives in Dublin, Ireland, and Rosita Sweetman is a best-selling author of 5 books. On Your Knees in 1972, Fathers Come First in 1974, and On Our Backs in 1979. After that, there was a long pause while she was navigating a horribly bad marriage and bringing up her wonderful children before she published Feminism Backwards in 2020 and her current memoir, Girl with a Fork in a World of Soup in 2025. Rosita is mother to Chupi, a brilliant and sensationally successful jeweler, and to Luke, a wonderful and talented filmmaker who also cooks us all the most delicious food. He is also grandma to Aya, I hope I'm saying that right, age 5, Chupi and Brian's daughter, aged 5. Aya keeps us all on our toes. Rosita is a founding member of the Irish Women's Liberation Movement, one of the first groups to challenge the hegemonic power of the Catholic Church in Ireland, and, if she may say so, one of the most successful social movements Ireland has seen. As Rosita says, they changed everything, but we need to change more.
Wow, well, I'm looking forward to that now, Leo. So let's cross over to Dublin and let's get Rosita on and see what she's got to say. Rosita, welcome to the show and thank you for joining us.
Thank
Hello,
you
Rosita.
for asking me.
Great to see you, Rosita. And as for listeners, we're just coming into this saying Marty's in Australia, I'm in Galway, Ireland, and you're in Dublin, Ireland. Yes? Dublin.
That's right. Yeah.
Yay.
So today, Rosita, we're going to be talking about moral injury. Now, I know you've already had the chat with Marty in your own life story previously, but today we're focusing on moral injury. And for people who might be watching our podcast for the first time and they'll be saying, what is moral injury? Let me just tell a little bit about it from our perspective. Not experts in moral injury or anything of that nature, but about 5 years ago, Marty and I became aware of moral injury because we have one common factor. That is, Marty and I are the sons of 2 men who fought in battle in the Congo in 1961 called Jado, the Siege of Jadaville. And from that, people started suffering from moral injury. So we became aware of it. Now, we also became aware very, very quickly that moral injury is not just a military thing. It goes into all walks of life, personal, family situations, prison service, police service, etc., first responders, hospitals, you name it. But anyway, from layman's point of view, what is moral injury? So if I just put it in the case of a soldier, where a soldier might suffer some traumatic experience and are then betrayed by higher authority. In other words, not being looked after by the people that should have looked after them when they had this bad experience. And that goes into all walks of life. But the side effects of, or the serious effects of moral injury can be very, very significant. Like people go silent, they don't talk about it. They suffer within themselves. It's like an injury to the soul. It can't really be measured. People have bad relationships, broken marriages, there can be abuse, there can be alcoholism, serious depression, and in some unfortunate cases, suicide. And Marty and I have met families who've suffered this as a result of moral injury. So that's very, very briefly what moral injury is about. Now, we are not experts in moral injury, but our mission is to raise the awareness of moral injury. And interviewing you today will another step towards raising awareness of moral injury. And bearing that in mind, we're just going that kind of an umbrella. We're going to let you just talk and tell us your story, whatever it is you want to tell us. And occasionally, Marty and I might jump in to clarify something or whatever, just to ask a question. So, Rosita, it's over to you.
Well, I've just published my memoir, and in it I document how my husband, luckily ex-husband, went off with my eldest sister, and my whole family supported them and didn't support my children and I. And that it was prolonged abuse, like, because it went on for years. But one of the things that I came out of that with, like, in a way, writing the book has been the second stage of recovery, because I think one of the things with abuse and with moral injury, like you're saying, it's a damage to the soul, to the integrity of a person, is that the abuser or the person who doesn't support controls the narrative. So, first of all, the person is abused and their integrity is smashed. But then the abuser controls that story and says, "Oh no, that didn't happen. It wasn't like that. You're always exaggerating." So that's the second part of the moral injury to the person. And part of recovery from that is taking back your story and saying, "No, this is actually what happened." I think it's really, really vital for anybody who's suffered from moral injury to take back their story. And then you go from victim to survivor. You go from somebody who's voiceless to somebody who's holding their story in their hand. I had a really extraordinary experience in the last 2 weeks. I reviewed Virginia Giuffre's book, The Girl Who Was Front and Center with
I've read that.
Jeffrey Epstein. And I reviewed it for the Sunday Independent here, and I found it an absolutely shattering read, what she'd been through. So, and then I posted the review on my social media, on Instagram and on Facebook. On Instagram, everybody was really sympathetic, absolutely horrified. And I posted it with a photo of her at Naomi Campbell's 31st birthday party in Saint-Tropez. And Virginia Giuffre, like, she literally looks 12. And you can see Ghislaine Maxwell in the photograph as well. But when I posted it on Facebook, there was this tsunami of vitriol came in. Like, quite a lot of them were bots, quite a lot were women. But I just thought, no wonder she killed herself. You know, from the age of 7, this young woman was abused, starting with her father. She was abused right, every male she met as a young woman abused her, raped her. Then she got out of it, and she actually began her fight back, which was sort of like mine when her daughter was born. I think it's huge for women and for men who've been abused. When they have a child, they think, Jesus, I really was that innocent one. And that's when they start to say, yeah, no, I'm going to fight those fuckers who hurt me. And that's when Virginia Giuffre really began fighting back when her daughter was born. So, like, she did really well. She brought down Jeffrey Epstein, who's now thought to be the biggest paedophile abuser in American history. She got Ghislaine Maxwell into jail. And she's rattled the cage of Donald Trump. But she herself killed herself. There's another whole tsunami of rage online about that she didn't.
Rosita, can I just interrupt you for a second?
Yes.
On the suicide, you said there she took her own life. Well, just my opinion, and for the viewers, no, just my opinion. She didn't take her life on her own. Those people that abused her took her life from her.
Absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's huge conspiracy theories around it that she was murdered. That no, I think it just got too much. Yes, of course, the abuse took her life from her. It was too much. So in the end, they did kill her. But she was actually in her farmhouse with her brother. I think it just got too much. Um, and that got me thinking about moral injury. That it's so weird when um, people see somebody who's been hurt and they go in and try and hurt more. And it's a really weird instinct. It's almost like I was going to say animals, but I don't know that animals do that. But humans definitely do it. And that, um, like, obviously, I didn't suffer anything on the scale that Virginia Giuffre suffered. But the trajectory is the same, that you go from, like, her integrity was shattered when she was still a child. She was still 7. And she fought and fought and fought to get her story back. And her book is her story, but she couldn't sustain her life. The injury was too much. It was too terrible what had happened to her. So I think one of the things is abuse against women and children. It absolutely must become front and center if we're going to develop a civilized society. You know, the president of Mexico, like this beautiful woman, was groped in the street the day
I
before
saw
yesterday.
that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like fucking hell.
And do you think, Rosita, you're saying there, and we're just talking, but let down, and we hinted there with children, you alluded to children and
Yes.
women, but they're let down. They can be let down. A young child can be let down by their parents, and that's moral injury because they rely on the person that's looking after them. So sorry, go ahead, and Leo, you need to come in there.
No, Rosita, what you said there and who you referred to, we all absolutely agree with everything you're saying. And obviously, you can relate to all of these things because of your own experience. So, within your own lifetimes, can you tell us a little bit more? Don't tell us something you're not happy with, but your own, how you've suffered as a result of what you consider to be moral injury, how it has affected your life, your daily life, your mental being, how you feel inside on a day-to-day basis.
I would think, like, I'm 77 now, but I feel I'm only just beginning to recover from the injury that was done to me by my ex, by my sister, by my family, by my twin sister, by my mum. Look, it's the biggest thing in your life to recover from an injury that goes so deep, I think. Because you have to go deep to get it out, and you're broken, so you can't do the work. So it takes 8. It's like somebody who's crippled trying to teach themselves to walk. Like, they can't walk. How are they going to learn to walk? Like, I just found a photograph. I had to dig out some photographs for a television program here, and I found a photograph of myself with J.P. Dunleavy, the writer. It's about 15 years ago, and my head is so far over like that. It's almost falling on the floor. Like, I literally couldn't hold my head upright, and I thought, that's how that's how injured I was. That it's your belief in yourself that gets injured. That's the really big part of a moral injury. And as for children, it's huge because that's when they're developing their belief in themselves. I've a 5-year-old granddaughter, and she's wonderful. If you say anything like, I said, "Oh, you're waking in the middle of the night." "No, I'm not." Her integrity is so strong. No, she doesn't let any criticism. Nope, nope. And I thought, my God, that's so wonderful. That's the way we should all be. That you bounce off any criticism. Okay, as you get older, you can learn to look at things and say, oh, well, maybe I do wake a bit too early. But as a child, it'd be so wonderful to see children with that integrity around them where, no, you can't criticize me. Whereas I think when you've been injured, it's like you become sticky all over. Everything sticks to you. You can't brush things off. You can't get your shine back. That is a deterrent in itself.
And Rosita, can I just ask you a question, and then Leah come in there? But
yeah,
what you went through with that, just for listeners, and this is a delicate question, and please don't answer. Did you think about suicide at any time?
Every day, every morning, every night. Yeah, absolutely nonstop. Yeah, yeah. I think.
And how did you get over that?
Writing really, really helped. That was huge. Recovering myself. My daughter was wonderful, and my son. They were both allergic to anything that looked like victim. Say, no, Mom, you're being a victim. And I think that's actually a danger when you've been injured, that you become a victim. And then that's very convenient for everyone now because you're powerless. And for a long time, I sort of sank into that victim role. Like I come from a big family. There were 9 of us in the family. One sister died. But my eldest sister fell in love with my ex-husband and decided she was going to have him. And he was traveling all the time. He was a development economist. And he was staying with her all the time. Like, he was a terrible philanderer anyway, but this was sort of convenient, and then it became more than convenient. And for years it was lied about. And then when my daughter was born, it was like I woke up and it was like, of course they're having an affair. Of course you have to do something about it. And that's when I began fighting. And that's when everything got much worse, because I went from sleepy victim to, hey, what's going on here? And that's when everyone really starts bashing you. And I kind of woke up to find everybody in my family supported him and supported her and let the children and I go. It's bizarre. Like, we had nothing. We didn't have a penny, and they were tiny. My daughter was 3.5. My son was 18 months. And my ex and my sister were in her house in London drinking champagne. Like, it was bizarre, the whole setup. It didn't last long. Like once I was out of the picture, their relationship didn't last long. But I think the moral injury came from everything you expect in life, everything that were the boundary lines, the support, the moral rectitude, that I remember going down to the priest. I was so desperate to try and borrow some money. He almost ripped his tie off, slamming the drawer of his desk so hard, which was stuffed with checkbooks and rolls of notes, that nobody supported us. So everything I believed in, my family, my mum, the law, suddenly, the law meant nothing. The church meant nothing. Nothing meant anything. So
the church or anyone else didn't give you any duty of care, did they?
No, nobody, no.
Rosita, if I may.
Yes.
This is amazing and very emotional, and sorry that we're putting you through this, but thank you.
It's okay. No, it's absolutely fine. Ask anything.
You've said a few things there that resonate with, I'd say, Marty and myself, very much so. But you've put a few things you've said I'm going to use in future, if you don't mind, because we found the same. The abuser and higher authority, they control the narrative. That is absolutely correct. Marty and I found this in every place. Now, Marty and I are involved in the Jadavals kind of a scenario. We won't go into that now. We found the same thing. Higher authority controls the narrative, and they bury everything, delay everything, deny everything, and hope you die and go away. So, right?
Yeah.
What you talked about being a victim and now being a survivor, that's very significant, and silence all the time to having a voice again, and getting your shine back, etc., and that took you a lot of years. If I'm reading your biography, the 3 books you wrote first, then there was a big hiatus and delay, blah blah blah, until you wrote the last 2, 24 and 25, or 20 and 25. I mean, that's where you were suffering badly, obviously. You said one thing here, that belief in yourself gets injured. And that is a typical thing we have found interviewing other people. One person we know used the word, I felt ashamed, and I shouldn't have. It wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. I met a very, very powerful man, soldier, once upon a time, about the Battle of Jadavin, who said, we have nothing to be ashamed of. We didn't do anything wrong. Why should we be ashamed? So anyway, there, you've just triggered things in my mind, Rosita, and I'm just repeating them back to show that we understand, Marty and I understand, and this is what other people are saying to us as well. So you're on the ball. You're on the ball. So go ahead.
Shame is such an interesting thing, because shame is a tool of the abuser. It's used from the beginning, from the moment they start abusing, until you get some of your integrity back. But everything is, you're rubbish, you're not worth saving, nobody wants to listen to you, who'd care about you? I think we talked about this before, but Gisèle Pellicot, the French woman who was raped by 200 men and filmed by her husband, and her thing, shame must change sides. I think that was so powerful. And that's for everyone who suffered moral injury. That shame is one of the first things that you have to kind of scrape off. Like I think of a person, like sometimes, like the old-fashioned oil lamps, and when your integrity is still there, the lamp is burning and everything's balanced and clear, and then when things go wrong, either the globe gets smashed or the it's turned up too high and everything gets smoky. The person is a flame and the globe is the protection. And that's everybody, probably everyone in the world has some level of moral injury. And the people who are the biggest abusers were probably abused. Not that I think you have to worry about them. Like the main thing is to fight them and get your own integrity back. But
And Rosita, can I just ask you a question there,
yeah.
please? Do you, in other words, saying is do you forgive the people that have done you wrong? Does it make it easier, or do you hold that? Like I found just in my personal case, and Leo myself have spoken about this and other people, is I forgive what happened to me. And I use these words, I forgive because I understand them, but I also forgive because I need to forgive. Does that make sense?
I'm in the fuck forgiveness school.
That's the first time. That's the first time we've disagreed.
I see where your granddaughter gets it from.
Oh, very good. Okay. I'm saying no more now. Okay.
That puts you in your box,
Marty. I think it's further disempowerment of people who've been abused to say you must forgive. Why should you forgive? No, that's not your job. They need to forgive themselves, but it's not your job to forgive them. Your job is to become whole again. Like, I think it's so insulting to tell abused people they must forgive. Why? You know, and they say, oh, it'll be good for you. No, it'll be much better for you to stay angry and say, fuck them and fuck forgiveness.
But I say, Rosita, I say forgive them for the simple reason, as you just alluded to earlier, if they've been damaged and they didn't do something, that they didn't realize what they were doing, I have to forgive even though I'm the second one down the generation for myself.
Yeah.
I know what you're going to say. Fuck them. Go on. You're not allowed to swear on this show, by the way.
Of course, I understand the thing of for your own sanity, you're supposed to forgive. But I do honestly think it's very disempowering for people who've been really badly abused to be told to forgive. Like it's once again putting them in a lower position, saying it's more important for that abused person to feel good. No, it isn't. No, they did terrible things. They're over there. You're here. Your job is just to look after yourself. That's your job, and to look after the people who you love and who are close to you. I really feel strongly about that, because for years I went to different counsellors and people to try and get help, and there was always this thing, oh, you must forgive, and then you go away feeling worse than ever. You think, oh my God, I'm a monster. You know, I still feel raging inside. I think rage is rocket fuel. It helps you to get out of the sort of swamp of victimhood and abuse and say, no, I don't forgive. No, what they did was absolutely terrible. Maybe one day you'll feel differently. And I think, obviously, as a human being, you always have to stay open to feeling differently about things. But if you feel rage against them for what they did, that's really empowering. Stay with that. Don't let anyone say to you, oh, that's really bad for you. No, it's really good for you. What was really bad for you was being abused. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know where you're coming from. And let's see, where Marty and I come from and other people come from is slightly different. What we're talking about here about, let's say, take a person who was, you referred to it, badly abused himself, and then he became an abuser. It's hard to forgive him, etc. But there might be an understanding of what the other person suffered, which caused that person to do bad things now. And you might not fully forgive them, but at least you understand why they did it. In some case, you might be able to forgive. But look, I know where you're coming from. It seems
I
to me,
think understanding them is really good, and really part of integrating the whole story. Like, my ex-husband was really badly abused as a little boy. He was really badly beaten by his father, not weekly, if not daily, because he soiled himself. He couldn't control himself, and the father would come in. Like, they were from a very poor background, agricultural labourers up in the north of England. So his integrity was destroyed, and I understand that, but I don't have to forgive the adult him that almost destroyed me. Like,
yes,
there's every opportunity in the world, particularly in the Western world, to go and get yourself sorted out. There are hundreds of therapists and psychiatrists and every kind of therapy available. So if go and get yourself sorted out, then maybe you've earned forgiveness.
yeah. Go ahead, Marty.
I just put it also, Rosita, that just because we're on this subject, which is I don't think we've ever had this online subject, but if you take, for example, just my story of my mother tried to attempt murder suicide, would you forgive her?
For trying to kill herself?
No, us children and herself.
Ooh.
Give the reasons why, Marty.
Yeah, but like, that's what I mean, is as in she was going through desperation. I mean, it's not my story, but I'm just throwing this in here when I'm talking about forgiveness, the same as I forgive my dad and I forgive my mother, is with my mom attempted murder suicide on us children 6 times. Like where's the thing? But I understand it. And I did ask my mom, just to throw this in here, I asked her, did you try to kill us because we were 6 little fuckers? You start swearing, so I can do it. And she said, no, because I loved you and I couldn't leave you with him.
Yeah.
Leon.
So that's where the understanding and forgiveness comes in Marty's case.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think also it's very different when somebody has died. Then your relation to them obviously changes, and the forgiveness changes. It's very, like, if somebody's still stomping around hale and hearty, and everyone's saying, oh, you have to forgive them. I think that's very different than when somebody has died. Their life is over, their struggle is over. Then, it's different.
But
And
also, Rosita, I just have to disagree. I'll have to disagree a little bit. My dad, like, he beat us, tortured us, starved us, all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, I stayed on with my dad. I was the one that was mainly abused. I stayed on with my dad for 10 years after, and we had a great relationship. And I forgive him.
Yeah. Because you understood him.
Correct. That goes
Yeah.
back to moral injury, which solved that for me. I could forgive myself for tolerating that.
Yeah. Well, you didn't have an option, eh?
I didn't have any option whatsoever.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
wasn't negotiable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what you've been
Ros-
through is phenomenal. And but what I love about you, and I've read part of your book and I've had you on the show on life stories, but you're a very powerful woman, everything you've gone through. And I believe my mum was a very powerful woman, and I think all
Yeah.
Irish women, well, Leo would tell you, his wife Sheila, he wouldn't be the man he was if she didn't tolerate him,
is. Yeah.
Sorry. Of course.
Very simple. Just do as you're told. Do
That's
as you're
it.
told. I just did as I was told for the last 60 years. Rosita, get seriously again. I admire you very much for everything you've gone through. You're 77 years old now. I'm a few years older than you. Anyway, you're 77 years old, and it seems to me that you've come through an awful lot. And I think you probably consider yourself extremely lucky with your two lovely children and your grandchildren. And so you have survived. In other words, you have survived.
Yeah.
And every day for you now must be a nice day because of what you have achieved, in your books, etc., and what you've achieved with your children and your grandchildren. So in many, many ways, you're blessed. Having gone through a bad time, you're now in a bad place, you're now in a good place. Am I reading that right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I'm doing what I'm kind of girl interrupted, what I loved doing was writing, and then that all got lost in the chaos of the bad marriage. So I'm sharing a home with my daughter, excuse me, and her husband and my little granddaughter. My son and his fiance are really nearby. So we're all seeing
Nice.
lots of each other, and I'm writing, so yeah, it's a really, I feel I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing. Well, I'm trying to do that. Um, you know, that you become, I think you become better when you work at your life. That there's sort of this image, oh, if you only could be on a tropical island lying in a hammock. But no, life, look, which is lovely. I'm not against it, but life is work, and work gives you self-confidence and self-belief, and integrates you into society. Like I think it's so sad. There's so many people who are outside of society at the moment, just online all the time, raging, and um, you know, we're intelligent animals. We're supposed to be doing stuff, and we're supposed to be integrating with the community of humanity. That's our job.
It is, Rosita. And what we do is we try to think, and moral injury is basically about talking to people, like us three having a chat today.
Yeah,
Just having a chat. That's it.
yeah,
Having a laugh and having a chat. But it's actually talking to people, and it kind of takes it off your, a problem shared. But let someone listen, because there's people out there do not talk about it. As I always said, you go down the street and you can open the door with a person in a wheelchair or someone with a cane, but you don't know what goes on in someone's head,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
that's what it's about. Now, Rosita, we're just finishing up on time, and I would like
Okay.
to ask you before Leo jumps in, and then if you can just give a little advice to people, especially your book, which we're putting it up there at the end, and it's tell us a little bit about what that book meant to you once you poured your heart into it.
It meant, like, for starters, I was really shocked when I finished it, and I looked at it and I thought, God almighty, did the kids and I really go through all that?
Yeah.
But then I felt it's there, it's out of me and it's there. And that felt really good. The story is there. It's not churning up inside. It's not destroying me anymore. I've said what I want to say, and there it is. It's sort of separate from me. And that felt really good. Like, I'd encourage anybody who's been abused to write it out. You know, it doesn't.
Yeah.
When I was writing Ray Bradbury, you know, Fahrenheit 451, he always said, sit down and write. Don't think of lawyers. Don't think of your ex. Don't think of anyone. Just write, write, write. All of the scrutiny can come later. So I think writing about it, singing about it, making drawings about it, anything that gets it out of you and into somewhere else where you can look at it is really helpful.
Did it lift a weight off your shoulders?
I think it really did, yeah. I think it really did. I feel better. You know, I feel better in myself.
Well, Leo, I'm going to let you finish off. Oh, sorry.
I still think fuck forgiveness.
Oh, you're having a go at me. Leo, I'm going to let you close up the show there, and I'll just close it off.
Rosita, it's been very interesting, emotional listening to you. I feel privileged that you've come and told us your story. Hopefully it hasn't upset you too much telling us this. It's going to be, what you've told us is going to help millions of listeners, because we do reach quite a few million people, and a lot of them will empathize and it'll resonate what you've said to many people, and it will help many people. And that's what we're about, is trying to raise the awareness of moral injury, thereby helping people. And one particular thing was that when you write about it, it improved things for you. And we've always said, when you talk about it and chat about it, don't hide it, then you start healing.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. Kind of validated quite a bit of what we're about. And for that, I appreciate it. We appreciate it. And listen, we wish you the very, very best with your nice.
Thank you so much for having me on. It went so fast.
Yeah,
I know it goes quick, and it's also what Leo's saying there is, just quickly, if I can jump into the end there, was the last word, that fella, is we say, and Leo and myself started this 5 years ago, and we've pumped tens of thousands into ourselves. We've never taken a penny for anything, because that's the way it works. But we said at the very start, if we hurt one person or upset one guest, we won't do it. We let people tell their story. So, Rosita, thank you very much. Leo, always a pleasure. And thank you to our listeners here in Australia and all over the world. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Peace.
Good night, and thank you, and peace.
Marty, God bless you. God bless you.
Thank you.